So got some parts from New Holland. Let's see here. Here are the part numbers. So we got two new snap rings, and also got the oil seal. And the oil seal is an exact replica. I was looking at all of these numbers here. Get my phone out of the way. And I mean, everything is identical. All these numbers that are on the outside edge here on both of them. So all of that lines up. The new snap rings are a little bit different. You can see where snap ring pliers would go in the tops of these, whereas the other ones, they were not like that. Here's the old one right here. Alright, so hopefully you can see this. The housing turned out great after just a little bit of using that nylon brush and some brake parts cleaner. So I'm very satisfied with that. I'm going to go ahead and install the seal with this lip facing inward. And just wanted to show you, I went ahead and bought this bearing and race seal driver kit. I tried to get one for rent from the auto parts store, but they didn't have any. So I went ahead and just bought a real cheap set, and we'll see how it works. Looks to be of a decent quality. It's got to be a little bit better than using a piece of PVC. So we'll see how this goes. Alright, so the seal is nicely in there. Everything worked out really well. So no complaints here. So as you can see, some of the procedure is missing right now because the camera died, so I'm going to have to work fast. I just put a very quick charge on this, so it won't last very long. But basically, here's where I'm going to go from here. I use, again, trusty PVC, and I put it right on the shaft like that, and just started hammering the top with a flat piece of metal, which you'll hopefully be able to see and the camera won't die. I've got a beat of storm that's coming right now. I don't know if you can notice that it's gotten quite a bit darker. But I got it all the way down to the snap ring, which is what the procedure in the book calls for. So now I'm going to try and install it, because I know once I get this other snap ring on this groove here, it's going to be a little bit more difficult for me to be forceful with it, getting it into that housing there. So what just worked for getting this in, because those splines have to line up, is slightly bringing it out and pushing it back in and just rotating it as I was doing that, and finally it lined up. So now we're sitting where the bearing is ready to go in. So we'll try my little procedure here to get that hopefully knocked in. So I'm not going to get too violent with that because there's just a snap ring back here that's stopping it. Before I finish putting everything together though, I'm going to put some hydraulic fluid on this bearing just so that way I know it's properly lubricated, and we'll wrap it up. Alright, so now I've got the bearing lubricated and the snap ring on and in place, and everything is fitting nice and snug. I've already lubricated this shaft here. I don't know if you can tell that from just the video itself. And I sanded this down earlier with some emery cloth, just trying to get all the grit and all off of that, so when I put the seal on, it doesn't mar up the edges of the seal. So we'll put the seal on now. So that seemed to go on there pretty well. Now we'll get the bolts and tighten it up. So I've decided before I put everything totally back together, as far as just back here, not that it's going to take long at all, I'm going to go ahead and fill up the hydraulic fluid and we'll give it a spin. Alright, so now that it seems everything's back together, except for the lift arms, which I'll get to those in just a minute as long as this actually works. But the fluid is all filled up and we should be ready to go. So we'll see what happens here. And by the way, this is actually not a 4000, it's a 4410 Woods model, 1970. And PTO is spinning. Let's see if it'll turn off. It sure does. Go check for any leaks. Well, I guess this concludes the PTO seal shaft rebuild. Hopefully this was helpful for you. By no means am I an expert or a professional at this. I've just got a Ford manual and a toolbox and trying to do the best with what I have and keep this thing going. Thanks for watching.